Hey everybody, welcome to BrickVault. Today in front of us is every single Boba Fett, Jango Fett, and Mandalorian minifigure ever made. My basic cutoff line for this, because I know there's some controversy as to which characters technically count as Mandalorians and which ones don't. My basic rule was if it came with the Mandalorian helmet, he basically, or she basically counts no matter what. You can have your arguments in the comments below about who technically does or doesn't count as a Mandalorian. But anyways, I'm going to be going through this collection chronologically from when these figs came out, what sets they came out in, and how much they are currently worth. But before I jump in, I do want to say that if you like the display case that you see here, we do sell this at our web store, www.brickvault.toys, made of all American red oak, produced here in America. Very, very, very high quality, and I think they do an excellent job displaying minifigures. They come in a variety of colors, and I highly recommend you check out the link in the description below to learn more. And without further ado, let's jump right into the collection, starting off with the very first guy from the year 2000. Really simple looking figure with a wonderful mold on his body and a relatively simple print on the front of his torso. What makes him unique is the old gray used for his body. This light gray is not the light bluish gray that we normally get nowadays. He appeared in a minifigure set as well as the Jabba's prize set and a Slave One, the original Slave One set. That makes him the single most common released figure. Most of these Boba Fetts and other Mandalorians are exclusive to just one. He sells for $15 brand new in the old gray body. And then this next guy is one of my hands down favorite Star Wars minifigures out there. There's just so many things to like about the original Jango. The mold that's made for his body looks wonderful with the blue and lighter blue around the edge of the face. You can see that he's got a face print. You can turn his head around so it's totally black, like if you just want the black part of the visor to shine through, but it's a really nice stubbly face here. It's actually relatively detailed. He's got reflective silver printing for the armor on the front, which is great, and by far my favorite thing about him is that he comes with the original pistols, because they didn't really have, actually they switched over to the pneumatic pieces, I think for the later versions of this guy, but this was pretty simple because he kind of had these nice long sleek relatively simple looking blaster pistols. So this guy is amazing. Also, the body color here is done in violet. I think the official Lego name for that color is bright light bluish violet or something like that. It was only around between the years 2001 to 2004, so super rare. And brand new Jango Fett sells for anywhere between $80 to $120 roughly, depending on who you get them from. From the same set comes the Boba Fett child minifigure, the Jango Fett Slave One set. He looks really, really good. I mean, remember, this is like the old school yellow skin figs here, but not bad for an exclusive little print. His brand new asking price is roughly $11. And then not only is this next guy the most expensive in the collection, but he is among the very most expensive Lego Star Wars collectible minifigures that exist right now. The Cloud City Boba Fett has a lot of special features, a ton actually. The number one thing that you can notice is he's got the prints on the sides of his arms. He's also got prints on his legs, which, I mean, was happening back then. This is a 2003 release, but still very uncommon. And look at the detail, though, for the printing on his arms. Really, really special here, and probably less significant, but you can still see they printed just a little bit of those satchel pieces for his belt on the groin piece. This is the first time Lego decided to do arm printing. And they did it with, I think, Greedo from the same year, but they didn't do it after that for a very long time because I think just the production of it was probably too expensive and it just wasn't worth their time. But people really, really liked it, definitely appreciated it a lot. And right now, he's at least $400 if you wanted to get him brand new. I see him between $410 and $425 in the new condition. So yeah, he definitely has gone up and probably will continue to go up in collectability over the years. Now, this is the light bluish gray Boba Fett. He's exactly like the original, only the plastic is now the light bluish gray that we normally see, and you can kind of see the differences between these two guys, how those grays are ever so slightly different, and this is just a little bit more blue. He came out in the year 2006. There was another Slave One set, as well as the Jabba's sail barge. That makes him relatively common still. He is a $13 figure if you wanted to get him in the brand new condition listed on BrickLink, And then here is almost the same identical version. In fact, I'll just show them together. The only difference here is that this guy has the lighter red on the helmet, which honestly I do think looks a little bit better, just pops a little bit nicer. He appeared in a magnet set with Princess Leia and a Royal Guard, sells for $13 as well. And here we go again with another very collectible Boba Fett fig. I gotta turn the light down a bit just so you can see all the white on this guy. This is the Ralph Mcquarrie concept version of Boba Fett that was originally pitched way back in the day. He came out in a New York Toy Fair polybag. This was a 2010 release, by the way, and it's basically a copy of the original print here. There's no clothes folding underneath the armor, and he also doesn't have that little symbol on the chest there, and there's no printing whatsoever on the jetpack slash helmet mold that we have here. But he's a really, really interesting character. I think the story goes that they ended up using the Boba Fett original white and black concept to turn into stormtroopers later down the line, and right now he is at least $100 brand new in the polybag, but often goes for like $125 or more. Now here is what I call the first improved Boba Fett. I zoomed out a little so you can see him with the full antenna sticking out the top. He's got a new mold for a helmet and separate mold for a jetpack, which I certainly appreciate. And then now you can see the cloth that's draping over one of the shoulders. They just kind of did it in a standard brown, doesn't look that good, but the print for his body is updated, and Boba Fett also comes with an expression. I think a very good one. This definitely matches up with a lot of people's projected personality for the character, which is nice. So yeah, he's definitely a good looking guy. He appeared in a Slave 1 set. He's also a 2010 release and currently sells for about $15. What truly makes him unique, I just want to point out, is the brown cloth cape only came on him, and also the red groin piece and no print on the legs is unique just to that guy. But here we have from 2012 the next updated Boba Fett, and he's looking a lot better now. We finally get the leg printing and also toe printing this time, so he's kind of caught up with the 2003 Cloud City set, except of course no arm printing yet. And this Boba appeared in the Desert Skiff set, sells for $11 and has the same print as the last guy, but this guy has a new face print, and that's what makes him unique. I really enjoy the black head with the balaclava face print. I feel like a lot of stormtroopers really should have that. They did it for a short run with those guys, but ended up not keeping it, and the same goes for this Boba. This is the only version of Boba with the balaclava face. He came from a Celebration tin can from the year 2012, and he doesn't also have a jetpack or a shoulder piece or anything. It's just him with this helmet, but also he's pretty darn similar to the other version of the Boba we just saw. He is a $16 fig. Now, Pre Vizsla is a really fun character. He was a very popular and interesting guy within the Mandalorian clan, and of course you can see him here wielding the dark saber, which I lament to say isn't an exclusive mold. That would have been a really fun one to get as an exclusive mold, but I digress. It's still a really, really good looking fig. He's got totally unique printing on his legs, and even his chest armor is a little bit more narrow than Boba Fett's, which I think is a really nice touch. You can see that classic Mandalorian symbol both on his helmet and on the, it's like the symbol of a beast or something that they used to ride. And it's on his pauldron there, or his long shoulder cape, I should say. He's molded, his helmet is molded in the gunmetal along with the jetpack, which is awesome. Still no back printing for any of these guys, and this is what his face looks like. He is a $35 minifigure. Pretty interesting. You can see that he's got the pupils because this is still trying to follow the art style from the Clone Wars. And then when I show off one of the Mandalorian soldiers here that also came out in the same set from Pre Vizsla, but as well as another battle pack, you can see it's ever so slightly different. I really appreciate that they changed the Beskar armor to be gray instead of the gunmetal, so there's just a larger distinction between these two characters, which is pretty cool. So you can see it, there's the difference between these guys. And then of course he's just got a regular blaster rifle. I've ordered a new helmet or a new one of these guys. They're really, really cheap, and I want to have like the best version of each character. He's only $3, so the next time you see this collection video, that isn't going to look so faded. Now we've jumped up to the year 2013. This is the updated version of Jango. He is looking better in every single way, And here's a couple of interesting things about him. He's got here the same face print as the last Boba Fett, which is kind of interesting. I mean, I suppose their facial expressions would be identical, but he has all the same scars, which I do think is a little bit odd. How would they get the exact same scars in the same places? Also, check it out. He's got printing on the back now, and it's actually pretty darn good printing, considering the fact that it's normally supposed to be covered up with his jetpack piece. You can see his pistol pieces have been replaced with the general pneumatic ones, which is a relatively accurate detail. I think it's a pretty good piece, and I'm going to show these two guys off next to each other because it kind of makes sense. Now these next two guys are Death Watch Super Commandos. Pretty darn good looking print here. I like that the red here is even slightly reflective, or it certainly looks like that. It's either outlined by slightly reflective printing, and yeah, it's just, this is kind of the cooler, more deadly, more intimidating looking Mandalorians. And the difference between these two guys, they both sell for 10 bucks, is that one's got the Pre Vizsla head and the other one's got just sort of the general Mandalorian face. That's it. Nice looking prints on the helmets. I really like that. Yeah, really cool looking guys, very interesting. And then we have this guy from Jek 14's Stealth Starfighter set. We have this Bounty Hunter. He's just called Bounty Hunter in the set, but he's been identified as Rako Hardeen. And there he is. You can take off his helmet. This is his face, unique just to this character. The mold for his helmet is the exact same mold that we get for all these modern Mandalorian helmets. The print is very interesting, super unique, and in general I think is a pretty fun figure to have. He sells for $9, and now we've got one of my personal favorites from this collection. Jango Fett Santa Claus is looking really good. Some wonderful little prints here. You can see the torso piece is molded in dark red along with the hands. Breaks up the color variation ever so slightly. Love the silver printing here. You can see he's got a little bit of, he's got some presents as well as mistletoe. And then when you take off his helmet and armor, you can see that they actually went ahead and made a pretty darn good looking print for the back that's normally always covered up. They don't go into as much detail for the Christmas, the Advent calendar figs anymore. This is one of the last guys that they really went and made a really big effort for, so that's pretty cool. He sells for 16 bucks. He's definitely going up in collectability. And from the same set, we have the updated version of young Boba. He's not bad. The print for his torso certainly is better, and he looks a lot more aggressive and kind of evil. Well, at least that one expression. This one, he looks a little bit dumbfounded or confused. Kind of interesting. This is a guy that I think could definitely benefit from a darker skin tone. But for an update, he's not too bad. He sells for $6, and now we are moving on to Sabine Wren from 2015. She appeared in two different sets, Ezra's speeder bike as well as the Imperial Assault Carrier. And let me just move that helmet out of the way. She is got probably one of the better Mandalorian helmets out there in terms of print and composition. Also a very interesting, unique, specially made hairpiece for her. And her expressions as well as body print are just looking really good from all angles. This really is a pretty wonderful looking minifig. And surprisingly, she sells for $6. I have a feeling this original version of her is going to become more expensive over time, though can't be totally sure about these things. And now we're moving on to the updated version of Concept Boba. He was the exclusive minifigure in a character encyclopedia book that came out this year, and his updated print is much better than, of course, the original. But I really like that they went ahead and stuck with so many of the original print details for him. And let me just take the jetpack off. He's got a different print for his face, but I also like that they even went ahead and just made an exclusive, unique printing, trying to stay as close as they could to the original concept art from how they saw him. So that's awesome. So the helmet with the red dot on the top, or the red triangle on the top, is also part of that unique special printing that he originally had, which personally I think is a good thing they took away, because that's pretty much the perfect target indicator for anybody shooting at him. But let's move down. Here we have the UCS Slave 1 exclusive Boba Fett. So they finally brought back printing on his arms, which is great. You can see he's still got the toe printing, the leg printing. The body is pretty much the same as what we got from other versions of Boba, though now you can see that the ponytail is a lighter print. Also, you can see the insignia next to the ponytail is actually a little bit wider than the one that we have, like, let's say, great for the Boba Fett right there. This is also the first time we have a special looking print on the side of his little cloth piece here, which is also a different shape slightly. And lastly, he has a new facial expression, which only belongs to this guy here in the UCS set. What's interesting is none of the other pieces that are unique to him remained unique to him, so just the face now is the only exclusive part. And even so, the UCS Slave one was such a popular set, and this is just such a cool guy that he still sells for like 35 bucks if you wanted to get him brand new, even though that's just the face that is a special piece. This guy looks almost identical. He doesn't have the arm printing. He appeared in the carbon freezing chamber, and he comes with a standard stormtrooper face, which is kind of like, come on, why don't you at least give him the old Boba Fett face? That would have been better than this one. I don't know why they didn't do that. Yeah, and that's basically the only thing that makes him any different. He sells for around $7 if you wanted to get him individually brand new. Still a pretty good looking figure regardless. He's still very detailed, even though he's kind of standard for Boba Fett at this point in time. And now we're looking at Sabine Wren, who came out in a Star Wars Advent calendar, and the A-Wing versus TIE Fighter Advanced, Darth Vader's TIE Advanced. Her hairpiece is new because her hair color has changed. Facial expressions stay the same. The body print is a little bit different, actually very different, which is kind of nice. And she sells for just $4. Doesn't come with her Mandalorian helmet this time, which was a disappointment for me for sure. And then this is the last one in this little lineup right here. Boba Fett from the Desert Skiff Escape set has different color hands. They're tan here, and I was looking at those details. They're a little bit from this particular scene in Return of the Jedi. They could be interpreted as slightly lighter depending on how the light goes, but it's really not that different. What I do like is that they returned his body to light bluish gray, which is nice because it was sand blue for a long time. I think it just looks a little bit more accurate this way. His shoulder cloth is also sort of an olive green, which is more accurate to this particular scene. He actually just looks a little bit different. And then unfortunately, yeah, he still has the standard stormtrooper face. He's $8. The ponytail around his shoulder has also gone back to brown, which is kind of interesting. There's a little bit more tan detailing on the pouches by his legs. And part of this is I think he's just a lot more dusty in this scene compared to how we saw him from the movies previous. So they just tried to be more accurate to the details from this particular moment in time in the films. Now we are looking at the last update to young Boba and Jango Fett so far. They both came from the Jedi Starfighter with hyperdrive set, and the only thing that makes Jango different from the last time is that his torso is molded in the gunmetal, slightly reflective. I think the last time it was in gray or dark gray, so it's so similar but technically different. And also his face is a different expression, better expression. Definitely think his expression is simply just better. I like that it's aggressive. He's in a fighting mode when he's actually in this part of the scene. He's fighting Obi-Wan, and then this is an update to the torso. It's just in a better color blue, and I think the print is ever so slightly different, but the facial expression is the same, just a better blue. It's just not quite as vibrant, which is just more accurate. So that's the difference. We have, this guy is a $30 fig, crazy collectible, and even the young Boba is 10 bucks. And then this here is the latest update to Boba Fett, and you can see, yeah, he's got the shoulder prints. He's pretty much exactly the same as the whatchamacallit, the Slave 1 UCS set guy, but this time his face is different. Yeah, just a regular stormtrooper face. This guy, he is a $27 minifigure. And then we're finishing off this collection with the very recent fig. I only just opened him up earlier this week. We have the Mandalorian, and the print detailing for this character is exceptionally good. I mean, I really do like the ammo belt that goes across the front. I like his different sized and different colored knee pads. This is a really wonderful homage to the Star Wars Holiday Special, the actual gun. In fact, they basically already made a pretty interesting reference to that from the very first episode. And yeah, really simple helmet here. You can see no face print because we're not sure if we're ever going to see the Mandalorian's face. My guess is that we probably will at some point in the show. And let me just show you the details on the back. Having trouble taking this guy's head off, so I just turned his cape around. Really wonderful details on his back. Also, this cape is a special exclusive piece made just for him. It's just a little bit more narrow and tapered off off than your standard one. So let me get his pieces back on. Right now this figure sells for 20 bucks brand new on BrickLink, though I think that's going to go down after a little bit of time. He's still a very new recent fig, and usually the prices settle after a little bit, though I have no doubt he's going to remain very collectible in the future. Alrighty, that is going to be it for this episode, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. If I had any other type of Boba Fett, Jango Fett, or Mandalorian minifigure that we could add to this collection in the future, I gotta say it's going to be the Boba Fett from the Star Wars Holiday Special, especially since I just watched the first episode of The Mandalorian. That would be so cool. He's got a third eye print on the middle of his helmet, and he's got a pink gun, and I don't know, I think that would be a really cool fig to have as a collectible one for the future at some point. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. Let me know what types of videos you'd like to see us make in the future in terms of collections or custom builds, and we will see you next time at BrickVault.